Hello, everybody. Welcome back to ARS. Today, well, I've been on a bit of a hiatus. I had to go back to university, which is why the setup is actually different. I'm in my university bedroom right now. And basically, what I wanted to talk about today is I've been wanting to make videos for a bit, and I was like, what's my jumping back in point? Like, what do I say? And I've been watching Peacemaker, as I'm sure many people have been, and I've been really enjoying the week to week kind of journey that Peacemaker is taking me on. So I thought, let's talk about Peacemaker on this video. Now, as much as I've enjoyed Peacemaker, I think the story that James Gunn has been telling through Christopher Smith, the main character, has been really emotional in a way that I haven't really felt in a while. A lot of superhero content, like I feel emotional mostly just from seeing certain like beats that I never thought I'd see, or like seeing someone come to life in a way that I never thought I'd see. But there aren't you always like character moments and like arcs that really get me, especially in superhero content. It's kind of rare nowadays. Superman had a bit of it, but Superman, it was more so the spectacle and just like the plot. The plot beats really had me emotional. But the character journey that Christopher Smith has been on, the tragedy, the pain, especially John Cena's performance. I think John Cena's been doing an incredible job this season. And all of that is just it's really been hitting, especially and spoilers for the season, by the way. Oh well, this will probably go up either this will probably go up before episode 8, and if it goes up after, then fuck me, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, this is every episode from 1 to 7. Spoilers for that. But this journey that Peacemaker's been on, and like, discovering this parallel world, which turns out to be like Nazi land, and trying to figure out like where he belongs. And he's of the opinion that he doesn't belong on his Earth, that he would prefer to live on Nazi land Earth before he realizes it's Nazi land Earth. Now, obviously, if you've seen the title of this video, you know that I have a big issue with Peacemaker, and it is actually the inclusion of Nazi land Earth X. Now, let me explain. I know, like, it is a good twist. It was built up really well. The background extras all being white, the Kardashians not being famous, like a lot of small hints peppered throughout the episodes in taking place on Earth X to let us know that something's not really right here. However, I think that's as fun as that was to see unfold from like a plot perspective and like the situations it puts the characters in, especially poor Adebayo. It did a really great job handling all of that. I do think, however, that Earth X kind of undercuts the emotional journey that Christopher Smith was on, because he has this whole the grass is greener on the other side mentality. Like, his brother is still alive, his father's like a good father, he's gonna get with hardcore. Even the sin that's haunting him the most, the killing of Rick Flag Jr. Rick Flag's still alive in this universe, so even that isn't there to haunt him, right? And I just think that having there's this great scene in episode 6, I believe, where Chris and Harcourt have this amazing kind of argument, and they're like, she's trying to get him to come back, and he can't bring himself to go back because he's not sure how he feels about going back and his situation in the older world. And so you think, okay, so the culmination of this season is going to be him trying to reckon with going back and trying to decide on whether or not that's like a good idea. But the issue is that with Earth X being Earth X, his that's not a decision he has to make. He's like, oh shit, we're in Nazi land. And then he just leaves immediately. He doesn't even think about it. He just dips. All of that stuff he was just talking to Harcourt about his father being a good man, and Keith being the brother that he could never have, and Harcourt and blah, and like all this stuff, it just doesn't matter anymore because, hello, we're in Nazi land. Of course you're not going to stay here. There's Nazis everywhere. And I feel like that element really just kind of undercuts the journey that Christopher Smith was going. I was one that I was thoroughly enjoying. And I think it kind of takes away the decision, like the tough decision that he would have to make. Do I stay in this utopic universe where everything goes my way, or do I, tough it out, go back, and really work on the relationships I have with the people, and do I really reckon with the consequences and keep trying to go for redemption instead of taking kind of the easy way out? Now, do I have like an alternate take on what could have happened? Not really. The lazy thing, in my opinion, would have been to like no Earth X, no Nazi land. That that Earth was genuinely just a better Earth. You know, like straight up. Harcourt was nicer. His brother was still alive. Rick Fly Jr. was alive, and his dad was a good man. I think just genuinely make it so that all of that is true. So that when his friends come back and try to take him back from that universe, there's more of a struggle. Because he's like, no, my dad is genuinely a good, and like his dad did end up being a pretty good guy, all things considered. But I think they should have ran with that the whole time and like have his brother really accept him. Obviously, bring up the fact that, oh, I think the true kind of conflict should have lied in the fact that he killed his alternate self, and then once Economos or Harcourt or Adebayo leaked that information accidentally to, the Keith and the Audi of that universe, that would cause more of a conflict, and that would be cause for like, oh, do I stay or do I go at that point? Instead of the entire world being Nazi land, that kind of makes it like irrelevant at that point. Or does he try to keep the secret from them forever? At that point, I feel like there needed to be more of an internal struggle, because just making it so that everyone's a Nazi, you don't really think about it. You don't really have the struggle that I was hoping to see, especially because I know John Cena could have pulled that emotional arc off really well. Now, don't get me wrong, what we got was still really great. The fight with Keith and John Cena's like performance during that emotional sequence, I think is, a really, really amazing sequence. And definitely one of the best things we've gotten in superhero content. So I'm not upset with what we got. I just think that the emotional journey that Chris went on didn't get to truly meet like crescendo in the way that I was hoping it would. And that at the end of the day is my biggest problem with Peacemaker. I know people are going to disagree with me on this, especially because the Earth X twist again was pulled off really well. But that's just my 2 cents on the situation. Very excited for the last episode. The runtime this season has been super short. Every episode feels shorter than the last. So I'm really excited because supposedly the last episode, the finale, is an hour long. So I'm really excited to see what crazy, wacky things they pull, especially with all these new dimensional portals they'll have access to. But that's all from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have your own opinions on Peacemaker, please leave them in the comment section down below. I'd be very interested to hear what you all have to say, and whether or not you agree with my take on now this one storytelling aspect of Peacemaker. Again, I don't really have a great alternate idea. I just think that they really should have ran with the whole "the grass is greener on the other side" story that James Gunn was clearly going for. He mentions it in the podcast. I feel like they should have really ran with that instead of kind of abandoning it last second and made it kind of a very obvious choice as to what's next. But again, that's just my opinion on it. You guys have a great day. Like the video if you liked the video. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll hopefully try to put more videos out soon. Again, not sure if this will come out before or after the finale. Either way, it'll be topical. So you all have a great day.